your love for hip hop made you want to direct this Tribe Called Quest documentary. And for all intents and purposes, there was some drama surrounding that documentary when it first came out. But for my money, I, as a fan of you and a fan of Tribe Called Quest, I liked the documentary a lot. I thought it told a necessary story. The initial trailer for the documentary was online, and it was called Beats, Rhymes, and Fights. And when you came to, we talked about it, I was hanging out around you. There's a story that Q-Tip didn't like the first cut or the first way that the documentary was coming out. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, there was the first trailer was a trailer that got, this is a true story, that got taken from the editing house and posted online.
Okay.
So it was just like
an idea.
It was an idea. And the Beats, Rhymes, and Fights was just something that, like, it was just like a play on Beats, Rhymes, and Life.
Right.
And that came out. But yeah, I mean, there was things that all the guys and
rest in peace to Fife too, by the way, since we talking
Fife,
about
yeah, and I mean, there were certain things that everybody didn't like at one point, and that was one of the challenges of the documentary, in any documentary. And when you're telling a story of 4 guys, including Jerobi, that spans 20 plus years, that they're a group that has some dysfunction, and that the guys had their things that they didn't agree on amongst themselves. When you tell certain things, and people were being very candid, and it wasn't just Tribe guys, it was guys from in the native tongue collective,
right,
that were sort of sharing things that would make other people uncomfortable. Understandably, there's certain things that didn't that Q-Tip didn't like, and we butted heads on it, and eventually we came to a happy medium, and I think that we put out the stuff that needed to be in the movie. My intention was never to make anybody feel uncomfortable. Like, I had a love affair with a Tribe Called Quest, and I wanted to make the movie out of love, and I didn't know that there was any strife between the group. I didn't know.
When you went into it, you didn't.
I thought it was going to be like this homage, just how did you make this song? How did you make that song? And then the story got deeper, and then of course Fife, with dealing with his health stuff, it gave, it became this more realistic, accessible human story. So, I eventually we came to the medium, and I'm so glad that we were able to do it. And at the end of the day, the guys were all happy with the film, and I was happy with the film. And, me and Q-Tip are still friends. And, I was just glad, with the passing of Fife, that I was able to tell the story, because they deserve to have a documentary made about him at the highest end. And that's all my intentions were. So they're it's not the first time that the director and the subject, butted heads on
right.
And it ain't gonna be the last time.
Well, you make documentaries about stuff that you love as a director. You made a 30 for 30 for ESPN, right? You want to tell us about that a little bit? 30
for 30 on the Knicks, on the 70-73 Knicks, the last time we won a championship.
I wore my Knicks hat for you.
Yeah, I know. You fucking annoy me with that shit.
I know you go back and forth.
I no longer support them.
Okay.
Oh, God.
I no longer support that team or that franchise. But yeah, I mean, the docs are fun, and the Tribe movie was a passion project, and it was a fucking honor to do it. And I remember, when we talk about like being in the studio with you, and I was like, yo, when's Tribe? I remember I always used to ask you and Corey this: when's Tribe gonna make a new movie, make a new record? When's Tribe gonna make a new record? And that interest in them making a new record is what spawned the doc.
Right.
That's what it was. Like, I asked that throughout the movie: are you guys gonna make more music? And then it became, no, we ain't making no music. Are you guys gonna do any more shows together? Eventually it was like, we ain't gonna do more shows. But that was like their deal. And I'm glad I made the movie, and I'm glad that that movie was so emotional to make, and that whole,
it was emotional for fans too.
It was, yeah, and they because they struck an emotional chord with us, and it was and it became very relatable, and they were trying. The thing with me and Tip was like, he was trying to protect in some ways the legacy of Tribe, and I never wanted to fuck with the legacy of Tribe. We just were going at it. It was a power play, and I love that dude, and me too. I love Tribe. You know what I mean?
Q-Tip is one of the and Tribe Called Quest and Fife and Ali and Jerobi and everything, but you know, Tip as a producer and just as an entity is so influential in what I do.
So influential. Yeah. I mean, he's so influential. Like when I see a tweet LL saying, I'm making a record with Q-Tip the Abstract.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Is it fucking happening? Like, you know,
yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
crazy.
You know, that would be stupid if that happens. No doubt. I would love that I made that.
No doubt.
Man, Q-Tip vibrant thing. You remember the video and they were doing this thing?
Yeah, that's the Hype Williams era.
Oh my God, I couldn't do it for nothing in the world until I was an adult.
He took so much fucking strife for that. Q-Tip, remember? Because they were like, oh, he's like, you know, we're all the girls.
It was the video, because when you listen to that amplified album, it holds up.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It just, nobody wanted to see Q-Tip be fabulous like that. You know, at that time. What we wanted as fans was to East Coast stomp. We wanted that Tribe shit, and Tip wasn't on that Tribe shit at that time.
He wanted to move on. Yeah, and you know, and he's entitled to that shit. You know, it's like we can't, that's one thing that I took away from making that movie, because my whole thing was like, well, why not go back to being this? Why not go back to being that? And people, you know, life, art, doesn't, you can't capture those memories the first time you heard Black is Black. The first time I heard Black is Black was on the fucking radio. And when I heard Jungle Brothers saying, you know, that song, and Q-Tip going, he said, you know, Q-Tip from the Tribe Called Quest on the Jungle Brothers record.
Oh, yes.
That's never going to happen again.
Right.
You know, I'm never going to...
Promo number one.
It's never going to happen, you know? So those memories that whole time, and the first time I heard, you know, Check the Rhyme, I was in Detroit making Zebrahead on the radio, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
You know, it's not going to happen again. And you have to move forward, and they're entitled to move forward. And that was kind of like... you know, why I made the movie.
Right.
And you know, you can't capture those memories like, yo, when you heard Bonita Applebaum and you trying to talk to your real chick who in your head is your it's just not going to happen. Just like these poor fucking suckers, these kids, their memories are going to be infused with a bunch of fucking dog shit music. God bless these fucking
But they're going to
kids.
think it's amazing when
They
they get older.
I don't think they are. I don't know.
No, they are. Yeah. They are. I'm going to tell you why, because I remember when Ja Rule was on the radio, and everybody who loved pure hip hop was like, "Man, this shit is awful."
No,
and I'm
it's
like,
not.
You weren't there for this. But that's what we were saying. We didn't fuck with Ja Rule.
No.
You know, but if you go to an old school hip hop party now, you gonna hear "What Do I Read Without My Baby?"
That is a classic.
You know? Like the same thing happened with Puff and Big.
Yes.
When Puff and Big was out,
Puff,
the underground was not fucking with Biggie Smalls.
No.
They were not fucking with Puff. You go to an underground 90s hip hop party where they keep it real, and they playing More Money, More Problems.
Yes.
And everybody's throwing their rollies in the air.
Yes.
But back then, we was dissing rollies.
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's real.
Nostalgia changes how you see things.
That's real. That's real.
It makes you remember being at that time.
Yes.
You forget how much you hated that song.
That's real.
You're like, I was there. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. There was a lot of backlash on Puff and all that shiny suit shit.
Right, now you could play Mace records at an old school hip hop party and people gonna dance.
Word the fuck up.
Yeah, like that shit was the hottest shit and it was the hottest shit on the radio, but underground we wasn't fucking with.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's literally how it's always gonna be. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna
nostalgia
think
makes everything rose colored in retrospect.
What we done started. Look at what we done started. This the people party. When opportunity knocking, then young nigga move that door. Whoa, get your foot stuck in it, call me young, go get it. They can't fuck with it, might as well roll with it.